You are now tuned into the sounds of Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the next big thing, the latest up-and-coming sports journalist, your host, Nathan Snell.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony Handy, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all staying safe. This is episode number 370, Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. This episode, we're talking about the WNBA free agency. We're also going to give grades in this episode. But before we get that, there's a few things I want to say up front. Firstly, I would like to thank Faith Massonis. 2 weeks ago was the last time you saw me. We did an interview on Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. So I just give her a big thanks, as also to Rose DePaula, communications director for the University of Maryland women's basketball team. There's a couple of things you're going to see. There's supposed to be some videos out a couple weeks ago, and it just hasn't happened. So we're playing catch up. NFL mock draft, that'll probably go up tomorrow, sometime Thursday, Friday at the latest. Tomorrow, we're going to recap the remaining what was left of the regular season for the Maryland women's basketball team. The last time you saw a video was basically getting ready for the Iowa game. The Big Ten tournament starts Thursday. Our first game is against Illinois. So just be tuned in for those episodes. Same thing for the men. Big Ten tournament also starts for them as well. So again, we're back. We're slowly working our way back. We do apologize if you hadn't seen us for the last 2 weeks. So, but in this episode, I really cannot do it alone. And he's just been making moves, especially now working with just doing great things. And I'm just really proud of the work he's putting in. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Brenden Potts. Brenden, how you doing, buddy?
Hey man, I'm doing good. I gotta give you a shout out because I was at the Stanford Oregon game in Eugene, and I got to talk to an assistant coach that you had on the show, and we talked circles about you, man. Like, she had such good things to say about you. That's Erica McCall.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, she had such good things to say about you. But no man, I'm doing good. She called me a legend. I'm like, no, you're the legend. What are you talking about?
No, man, you're definitely a legend. The moves you've making, you're meeting, a lot of people who have impacted the game.
Yeah.
You're a celebrity.
I appreciate that. Work. I appreciate that. I kind of felt out of place when she called me a legend. I'm like, who are you calling a legend?
But really quick, just let the people know, what are you doing at BTO Hoops?
Yeah, so between the line hoops, it's basically my internship. I'm basically doing the same thing, doing article writing, some social media as well. But with the lead, who I'm still doing a little bit of work for. I only cover Seattle, the Seattle Storm, but with Between the Lines, I cover everything that you could imagine with basketball. So that's college, WNBA. We just dipped into women's sports, college hoops, both men's and women's. I've covered both men's and women's basketball. I think my most popular piece is about a friend of mine who plays for my former college at WSU. He just beat cancer, and he's doing great this year for our team in another bid to the tournament. So that's really really cool for him and that university. So, but I've done a whole bunch of other pieces, and it's been widely read, and yeah, they're a good group over there, and I'm glad to be working with them.
For sure, for sure, and also to shout out to your friend for beating cancer. Much
Yeah,
love and
yeah,
respect.
he's a good guy.
And then also to make, I'll be sure to make sure to leave a link to BTL Hoops and send me your most recent pieces. You've been doing a really good job.
Thank you.
I'm following more of the college side of your
Yeah,
pieces more than anything. So please, you keep up
yeah.
the good.
We have a new series out that me and my buddy Antoine Willis, he's a good writer as well. It's called the Scholarly Spotlight. And we each article we cover a specific team, whether it's men's or women's, and we cover why they're relevant or why they're doing what they're doing, player by player, and we've covered a lot of good teams. The latest one I put out today is about Princeton women's basketball. Every single year when March comes around, I always say, watch out for the Ivy League, and that doesn't change with women's basketball. I think Princeton could if they do indeed make the tournament, they could upset a lot of teams and go on a little run.
We'll see. We'll see that because after the tournaments is about I think a 2 week period.
Mm-hmm.
So and already the 16 seed, but we'll stay tuned for that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Do that. But we're here because of WNBA free agency. Brenden, I think this has probably been one of the most interesting free agencies I've ever seen. Brenden and I have given all 12 teams grades. We are kind of determining what each team did. Did it get better? Did it about the same? Or did it get worse? Now, I'm all in fair. There's some teams I'm kind of head scratching, especially I'm not going to say which one it is, and I just already kind of know what next year looks like. But we're going to start with the Atlanta Dream. The Atlanta Dream, I think, had probably the most interesting offseason. I thought getting Tina Charles, who I am happy she's back in the W. They also got Ariel Powers, Jordan Canada, and they re-signed Nia Coffey. Just talk about what you think of those moves, Brenden.
Yeah, so I gave them an A. I gave them an A here. Jordan Canada is a really, really good pickup. Personally, as a Seattle Storm fan, I was running through the type of players that I would want on my team, and one of them was Jordan Canada, and I would have loved to have her back in Seattle. So the Los Angeles Sparks, they cored her and then they traded her, which is very, I guess you would say, peculiar, or I'm trying to find a better word than that, but I think that's the best word I can come up with. It's odd.
That's a good word.
Yeah. So picking up a player like Jordan Canada is a pretty big move, and what I'm seeing here from the Dream is you're really rebuilding around or building around Ryan Howard, and you're doing it quite well. And adding Tina Charles, it's a hit or miss, but with the Dream, it's really one of those situations where if you hit, you hit a gold mine, but if you miss, just cut her, and you're not losing much.
I'm gonna disagree on that one, but go ahead, continue.
But Ariel Powers, I think, is a great signing. I think it's their best. I think it's arguably their best signing. So overall, I'd give this this off season an A. It's not a perfect off season, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, I had an A as well. First and foremost, I think the acquisition of Tina Charles was big because one thing that definitely lacked when they played Dallas, just look at the rebounding numbers. That's all you need to know. I think getting Tina Charles was big, especially her ability to rebound the basketball and another score inside the paint. I think Ariel Powers, we all know, is a great wing defender, so I expect her, and she could also shoot the three. Um, Now, Ari McDonald was traded for Jordan Canada in the eighth overall pick, and the got the 12th overall pick. So interesting. I probably would expect Atlanta to move off the pick, um, but we'll see, give or take. The only thing I say was probably it was kind of hurting was the only thing was they lost Monique Billings, and then Iana Report is committed overseas to get ready for the Olympics. So yeah, I give it an A.
The only thing I'm worried about with Tina Charles is her ring chasing because that's our most recent sample size with her. Is she was ring chasing with Phoenix to an extent, and then she eventually signed with Seattle to try and win one last ring before she was I guess forced to play overseas. So after the season, so her ring chasing reputation is the only thing I'm worried about because she has the reputation to quit on a team if they're not winning enough. So that's the only thing that I'm worried about with Tina Charles.
Um, this will be the last one when we move on to Chicago. I'm gonna disagree with it has a reputation. I think we kind of have to understand those New York teams she carried. Washington, when she was signed, she didn't play the 2020. Okay, it was practically her as she was the scoring champion. Okay, I think she's found herself in some very peculiar situations. Nobody expected that Phoenix team to go the way it did. Okay, even Scott, no one pictured that. On top of that, it was a lot of stuff happening with Phoenix. Now, I think a contract divorce, I've never heard of that, but I'm not going to blame all that on Tina. I think a lot of it is just bad timing, bad situations, wrong, like right player, just wrong situation. So let's move to Chicago. I'll go first. I feel as though um, I don't know what they're doing, but I think it's essentially a rebuild. They got Michaela Onyenwere. They trade in Breonna Turner, the third overall pick, a second round pick, and a 2026 first round pick. They can swap both picks in 2026. And Phoenix gets Kalia Copper and Morgan Bursick. Um, I, if you're Chicago, I don't really know what this is, but I think at this point it is a rebuild. Um, you let Courtney Williams and Alana Smith walk, especially the Minnesota, and I think not getting a Neko Gumake that hurt. Um, Looking at the pick for next year, it's a pick swap, so they could have been a little bit aggressive. Um, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. This is now you're building around Marina Mabry, Elizabeth Williams, and Isabel Harrison should be back after missing last year to the knee injury. Dana Evans, I would look for her to be most improved player this year, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's really where everything is. And also, too, Rebecca Gardner tore her Achilles playing overseas. So, well wishes for her. But what are your thoughts on Chicago?
Yeah. So first of all, I have a similar feeling about them. So I want to start this segment off with good news. I love that Isabel Harrison is back and she's hopefully fully healthy for this year. And July 7th against Seattle, I'll be there. That's my birthday game, so I'll be there and I'll get to celebrate that game. Um, but on that note, though, I gave them a D plus because Yeah, you pretty much summed up their off season. They got Rebecca Gardner, who unfortunately got hurt. Brianna Turner, who I think could be underrated in this trade. Michaela Onyenwere, they got as well, but they lost Kalea Copper, their franchise player. They lost Courtney Williams, who I've been on this show a bunch of times and I've loved every single time. And they've moved in a different direction, which is the rebuilding direction. In a rebuild, I know this as a Seattle fan because we did it for a year. In a rebuild, you have to have a franchise player. And for Chicago, that's not Marina Mabrey. Sorry, but it's not. It's Kalea Copper. And you traded that away. So you not only put yourself in a rebuild, but you started yourself from literally square one. Now, when one of the last shows that I was on, we talked about how Chicago does not get to make a pick in this 2024 draft. And if you want to make a pick in this draft, especially if you're a lottery team, it's this one. Because this draft, I've said it multiple times on multiple places, is there's not a bad pick in this draft. There's none in 3 rounds. There's 36 picks. There's not one bad pick. And it's just that stacked. And congratulations, Chicago. You're back in the draft. But your price for getting back in that draft, because you traded for Marina Mabrey, was trading Kalea Copper. That's just the price you had to pay. So the grade I gave them was a D+. But we will see what they do in the draft, because that's basically the franchise player that you're choosing to build around.
I definitely agree. We'll see what it looks like. Let's move on to Connecticut. What was your grades for them?
For Connecticut, I gave them a C. And it really boils around the health of Brianna Jones. If she's able to come back healthy, I think they could be a really good team. I think the addition of Tiffany Mitchell is a pretty good one. I just don't. Also, sorry, before I continue with this, they did re-sign DeWanna Bonner, which, given the amount of news that she got from ESPN when free agency opened, that's good news. Good response. Good response for them, because as a Seattle fan, I had to drop my phone and open my eyes wide open when I heard about DeWanna Bonner. But good response for Connecticut. But I don't. They're one of those stories where we didn't expect them to be good. They turned out to be good, but the question's going to be, can they repeat their success? And yeah, they have the potential to, but I just don't buy that they can. And they have. I'm not saying that they can't, but they have the personnel to do it. But it's just, they had such a good season last year. Players are gonna know how to play them, or players are gonna know that they're good. Can they really repeat their success? I don't know. And so that's what this offseason for me boils down to.
For me, I gave it a B-, because the biggest thing I think Phoenix needed was shooting. Connecticut, sorry. I know I said Phoenix, sorry. Connecticut needed shooting, and I think getting Banahan and Tiffany Mitchell, I think, were great. And, unfortunately, I lost Natisha Heidemann. Tiffany Hayes retired, and also Rebecca Allen left for free agency. So I think also getting Mariah Jefferson I thought was key. Now, Bree Jones did state in the extra interview when I asked her just where was she at with her rehab and different things like that. She said she was on track. I think she should be ready to go by week 1, in my opinion. So I think the Sun are fine. I mean, also too, they didn't really have the money to really make a move because the biggest thing was, do you keep this core? Do you move on from it? So I think they got their core intact. I think they can. I think they can definitely make a run. So let's move on to Dallas. I'll take this one. I'm gonna give it an A. I thought the biggest thing was getting re-signing Satu Sabli, but I think the biggest story was re-signing Kalani Brown. I think the energy that Kalani brings off the bench, and especially the size and rebounding that she provides in the interior alongside Tara McCowan, I think that is definitely big. We all know Satu Sabli and what she did this past season was big. Owa Kyrie will not be participating this upcoming season due to personal reasons. Hope she's doing well. Diamond Shields and Odyssey Sims, I want to say still are. Well, Diamond actually went to Chicago, and Odyssey, I believe, is still a free agent. So not terribly mad at these moves, but again, they didn't really have the money. They're kind of also tight with money as well. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, for Dallas, I graded these teams in terms of moves they made or matching with the direction that the franchise is going. So for Dallas, they were my only incomplete of the teams, and that was just because I didn't see them make any additions additions to the team, or the team didn't get better in the aspect of like they didn't add any weapons or anything to the team they already had existed. In terms of re-signing, I agree with you. Like getting Satu Sabli back was huge, considering that she was so many teams were interested in her, and rightfully so. She's a fantastic player. And yeah, Kalani Brown was a huge re-signing as well. But in terms of getting additions to the team, I put them as an incomplete. Now, they do have draft picks. And like I said before, and I'll probably say for a bunch of this episode, this draft is particularly noticeable with no bad picks. And when you're a team like Dallas with a first round pick, which in this first round in particular, you're gonna get a star / superstar in this draft. So if you're a team like Dallas who has a first round pick, you're sitting in a pretty good spot.
Okay. I'm not mad at that. I actually need to go back and look at my notes when it comes to the mock draft because I think Dallas kind of has the pieces. Stephanie Soares is coming back next year. Remember, she didn't play last year due to injury. So Veronica Burton, Maddie Cedrus, I think they're going to have good years this upcoming season. So we'll see. Let's move on to Indiana. Excuse me. They really make much. I mean, they got now Katie Lou Samuelson, and then Demarius Dantas. They both missed last year. I think it's more for depth. But we already know that they're gearing up for the draft. So there really wasn't anything spectacular that they did. They didn't really lose anybody. So I gave this one an incomplete. Really, I think the draft, we all know it's a foregone conclusion. Let's just get it out the way. Caitlin Clark will be the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 WNBA draft.
Guaranteed.
I mean, I don't see how that's really guaranteed because it's really guaranteed.
Yes.
But I gave this one a B plus. The Indiana Fever a B plus. mainly because this Katie Lou Samuelson signing is really growing on me. And at first, I saw this signing when I was going through the free agency signings because, again, sorry guys, I'm a Seattle Storm fan, so I'm interested in this kind of stuff. So, so I'm going through these signings and I see Katie Lou Samuelson signs with the Indiana Fever, and I'm like, that is probably the most random signing of the entire offseason. And then I'm looking at this signing like, okay, you look at the Indiana Fever, they have Aaliyah Boston, who is a great rebuilding piece. And they add Caitlin Clark, who's going to be the number one pick in the draft. And now you suddenly have this dynamic duo in Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. And what do you need to surround them with? You need to surround them with pieces they can play around and veterans. And I think Katie Lou Samuelson is a great piece to that fits both characteristics. That she's a veteran and they can both play around Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark. So as the offseason goes on and the draft gets closer, this signing kind of grows on me. So although they didn't have the most headlining offseason of the entire league, it's not bad. Like, it's not a bad offseason, and this Katie Lou signing is becoming less and less random. And maybe Lynn Dunn has something up her sleeve. And but if you're an Indiana fan, you've been through a lot. You've been through a lot of losing, a lot of getting beat badly by some good teams and maybe some bad teams. But this is your prize. You get Aaliyah Boston, who was no question the highly touted collegiate prospect from South Carolina last year, and then you get Caitlin Clark, the player who's taken the college basketball world by storm, not just women's college basketball, but college basketball by storm. So at this point, if you're an Indiana Fever fan, you just got to be sitting back and watching the chips fall where they may at this point.
More definitely, I agree. The only thing is, this is the last point that we'll move on to the Aces. I've heard a lot of stuff, particularly on Twitter, about trading Kelsey Mitchell, and the question is, what are you trading her for? What are you wanting in return? You just can't just trade players or cut players for no particular reason. I just wanted to get that out the way. Let's get to Las Vegas. They re-signed Candace Parker. They re-signed Kia Stokes. I wanted to say Kai Stokes. Obviously, one of the best players in the game, and Cindy Colston. They also signed Megan Gustafsson. Big signing there. I like that, especially last year. As far as bigs, outside of, there really wasn't anybody last year, especially take some of the minutes off Asia. So I like that getting a pickup from Megan. I was hoping with the signing of last year with last season with Lele Coates, didn't really happen. But I give it an A.
Yeah, me too. That's my grade for them too. Like you said, they got Meg Gustafson. You can't pay me to say that name right. And then they got Candace Parker. Hopefully she plays healthy because that's just going to make the Aces that much better. So it'll probably turn this year into the year that Aces fans thought was going to be last year. But the most important piece is they kept their core together. And not that there was any worry in that, but I mean, it's the off season. Anything can happen. So the fact that this organization kept their core together and kept kept them somewhat sane is a pretty big win. Yeah, like you said, Sydney Colson is probably the most important player on this team, or one of the most important players on this team, and really the league. She's so fun. It's such a fun personality. But I'll tell you what, one of the most underrated signings for the Aces was Meg Gustafson's dog, Pancake. And I cannot wait for the social media team for the Aces to get video content content of Pancake at practices with Becky Hammond's kids. It's just gonna be so fun for fans and media people to just squander over.
Shout out to Pancake.
Yeah, Pancake.
They're one dynamic duo. Love it. Let's go to Los Angeles. Talk to me. What did you think about the moves that they made?
So this is probably going to be a little controversial, and I'm interested to see what you think about this one. I give the Los Angeles Sparks an A-, and hear me out. Walk with me. Yeah. The moves or the off season doesn't look that appealing, but you got to take the direction the Sparks are going. They're going just like Chicago is. They're in a full rebuild. So what do you do in a rebuild? You pick a franchise player, and then you build around them with young players and draft picks. So the Sparks don't necessarily have a player to rebuild around. You could say Lexi Brown, but there's not really an identifying rebuilding player to build around in LA. But you add Kia Nurse, who, if you look her up, she's 29 years old. She hasn't even reached 30 yet, which I thought was surprising as a Storm fan watching her last year. I thought she was old as shit, but she's not even 30 yet. So, and it may be due to she's coming off an injury, but need I say less? So, okay, you add Kia Nurse, you add Erin McDonald, which, okay, if you build around Erin McDonald, she's still relatively young. That's a good piece to have. But the thing that you have, and I keep pointing to this draft class, you have multiple top 5 picks. So that's potentially Cameron Brink at number 2, if she indeed declares, which I think she will, and potentially Rickea Jackson, who's another good piece from Tennessee. So this particular draft class, not only do you need a first-round pick to get a superstar or star, but Los Angeles, you have 2 picks in the top 5, which are really key to a rebuilding situation. And I think you're going to pay for the loss of both Agumake sisters. We're not 100% sure about Shanae, but I do believe she will not play with the Sparks next year. But and Jordan Canada as well. I'm sorry, but you're in a rebuilding situation. So if you look at this offseason that they had, you have to take in the direction before giving them a full like bad grade about what they actually did.
Okay, so I have a question. You give them an A-. Okay. Do you not see how guard heavy Los Angeles is? So if you're going to draft for Kia Jackson, okay, just give me just a name. Who are you cutting? Because you can't keep all of them on that squad like that.
Who am I cutting? Sorry, guys, I'm pulling up the roster really quick. Who am I cutting?
That's a team that's guard heavy. And just for the fact, guys, this draft, a lot of our young ladies could definitely go back another year.
Yeah.
But they have 4 draft picks. I'm really curious to see. But while he's doing that, I'm going to give my grade. I'm going to give it a B. I actually want to give it a C plus. Until I think the biggest thing is what to see what they're going to do with this draft. I think that grade can change. Now they did re-sign Lachey Clarendon, Ray Burrell. They also got Monique Billings, Kian Nurse in a trade. The Los Angeles Sparks got the 4th overall pick, while the Storm got the 2026 first round pick for the Sparks. When you look at that as well, Ari McDonald, Taylor Mikesell, the Samuelson sisters are gone. Jasmine Thomas retired, so they don't have shooters in the lineup. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Lexi Brown can shoot, Ray can shoot, but you lost some pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm cutting. I don't know if Avina Westbrook is going to make this team. She's young. She's 25.
I think she can make team. I think so.
She can, but it's just like you said. It's so guard heavy.
Exactly.
And I mean, yeah. If you're the Sun, you gotta cut someone. If
Sparks.
if they draft, yeah. Or I'm sorry, yeah. Los Angeles.
The other reason I said that because I wanted you to look at their roster.
Yeah.
And I get where you're coming from in terms of the rebuild. I mean, with 4 first round picks, that's great, but are you trying to make a move with those picks?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only question. So until then, I think that's my grade for the Sparks. We're down to the last 5 teams. Let's go to Minnesota. What was your grade for them?
For Minnesota, I gave them a C plus, mainly because I didn't see them do much except they got Courtney Williams. I mean, I've been on this show countless times, and I've expressed my love for Courtney Williams. I just love her game. She is one of the players that I wanted the Seattle Storm to sign. But I'm very glad that a team like Minnesota got her. It's just about the development of the second-year players. They were a playoff team with at least 2 rookies that come up to mind, which were with Dorka Juhas and Diamond Miller. Can they take that next step? And that's what will take them to the next level. Now, I do believe they have a first-round pick in this draft. So that's also key to the direction they want to go. But my question, we considered them being a rebuilding team and then made the playoffs. Do you think they're still rebuilding, or are they building towards something bigger than a playoff spot?
Well, I think for me, I think they're building for the future. You know, once Sil retired, I think that was we have to rebuild. And also to remember, Nafisa Collier was out for some time due to pregnancy, now I think you're getting Diamond Miller, Dorka. You have a chance. I personally think last year they should have got a center. I think this year they might do it. I think that I see Camila Cardosa being drafted here. I don't see her going no lower than 7. I've seen some mock drafts where they have Angel Reese. But I think that's what their focus is. But I like what Minnesota did. Alana Smith, Natisha Heidemann, Courtney Williams. I mean, Jessica Shepard's out because of prioritization. But they needed, I think they got some much needed depth in the backcourt. So I think
And better in guard play too with Natisha Heidemann and Courtney Williams.
Yeah, for sure. So I give it. I'll give it a solid B. So and give Cheryl Reeves credit. She will build a contender. Let's talk about that basketball team in New York. Breonna Stewart, Jonquel Jones were signed. Jocelyn Willoughby, Maureen Johannes is overseas. Han Shu is overseas as well. So you brought back the five core. I mean, the only person I'd say they lost was Ivana you got your Ivana Dorkic from Seattle, and they lost Steffi Dolson to the Washington Mystics. So I'm going to give them the same grade like Vegas. I'm going to give them an A.
Okay. I gave them a little bit lower. I gave them a C. Because they did get Jonquel Jones back. They did get Breonna Stewart back. But in my opinion, that's what they were supposed to do. Especially if you're a team that put all your chips into the middle and went all in, and you acquired Jonquel Jones in a trade, and you got Breonna Stewart in free agency. In my opinion, that's what you're supposed to do. Is you're supposed to re-sign those players one way or another, and that's what they did. And so I give them credit for that. Ivana Dorkic is where I get a lot of question marks, because if she plays the whole season, this could probably be one of the biggest underrated signings in the offseason, because she is a great starter. But for New York, she's not going to start. She's going to come off the bench, which I could argue that makes her that much better and that much more of a weapon, because she's a great player. Now, my concern is that she doesn't play for the whole season because of the Olympics. And that's why she left Seattle, was to prep for overseas play, and they unfortunately had to let her go. And it's unfortunate, because I had just put out a piece about her about a week before she was cut. So she's a great player, and she could either help the Liberty become a fantastic all-around team, and she could give them or she could leave them with a big hole to fill. I think the loss of Maureen Johannes is going to be bigger than we think, because she was a kind of a secret weapon for New York. I hear a lot of Liberty fans on my timeline talking up the hell out of her. So the fact that she's not going to be with the team next year is kind of upsetting. So I'm not 100% sold on the Liberty this year as I was last year.
I agree with that. We'll see how it looks, especially after the draft. We'll see what it looks like. Let's get to Phoenix. Brittany Griner obviously wasn't going nowhere. Natasha Cloud is a Phoenix Mercury. Rebecca Allen also signed with them. They lost Skylar Diggins-Smith. She signed with the Seattle Storm, which we'll get to a little bit. Megan Gustavus with the Vegas. Shea Petty, Mariah Jefferson went to Connecticut. This is also the same team that's going to also get Elena Delle Donne. So I'm going to give the Phoenix Mercury a B+.
I gave them a B+ as well. They're almost to an A- for me. They're almost there, and they also got Nate Tibbetts as their new head coach. I'd say give him a chance. Give him a chance before you absolutely scold him. Natasha Cloud, Kalea Copper too. They added and Becca Allen. This team is going all in. They're putting all the chips in, and they're saying, "Hey, we're gonna do whatever we can in potentially Diana Taurasi's last year, and we're just gonna go all in." Here's where I separate the B minus or the B plus from the A minus. They're the Phoenix Mercury, and if anything's gonna go wrong, it's gonna be in Phoenix because that's what happened the last 2 years. They can have as much talent in the league on one team, and they could still implode. Now, I think the fun duo on this team is gonna be Kalea Copper and Sophie Cunningham. They say Sophie says they can work, but that's one of those duos where I need to see it to believe it. So they're almost to an A minus. If it works on the court, I'll bump them up to an A minus. But I need to see it on the court for me to get there. But for now, I think it's a B plus. I think they had a tremendously surprising offseason for what we thought they were going to do.
For sure. I agree. And Brenden, you've been waiting for this. Let's just keep it brief. I know you're super stoked, especially last year, all the pain and stuff we went through. So just take at least 2 minutes. Just your thoughts on your free agency. I'm gonna let you have this one.
Yes. The Seattle Storm. Okay, here we go. This is the best segment of the day. Now, I give them an A plus, maybe an A plus plus, because they got exactly what I, as a Seattle Storm, wanted. I wanted a grit and grind point guard, and I wanted a star forward. Not necessarily a superstar forward, but a star forward that could help our front court. And that's exactly what we got. We got Skylar Diggins-Smith, who is probably one of the most criticized players in this league, who I think still has something left in the tank, something left to give. And I'm super, super excited to see her on the court and playing for the Seattle Storm. Neko Gumake, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see her play for the Storm. That was a fantastic signing, but it also has to do with the re-signing of Jewell Loyd. And these two players wanted to play with Jewell Loyd, which just has to come back to the success of the front office and the idea to lock down Jewell Loyd as their franchise player before last season ended. And it was just such a greatly executed plan from the jump. The losses are not too bad. Yvonne Turner, Gabby Williams, I think due to prioritization, which ultimately slots in Jordan Horson to start at the 3, which I'm not mad at. People forget that last year she played half of the season with a busted shoulder. So assuming she plays fully healthy this next year, I'm excited to see her take that second step or that step in her second year. I think this Skylar Diggins-Smith signing is going to be the best for Jade Melbourne, a player entering her second year. She didn't get much playing time in her first year, so I'm interested to see how much more playing time she gets in her second year. But amazing stuff. I wish I could give them higher than an A plus in this offseason, because oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be a Seattle Storm fan right now.
I intentionally did not give a grade because I wanted to let you have your moment. So, but I'm just going to give a grade. I give it an A. He practically had nailed everything he nailed every point. Okay, I'm gonna take you off the stage. I need to vent for just a quick second. I'll bring you on just for the grade. Okay. Washington Mystics. Incomplete. I don't know what this is. I really don't. Elena Deladon is sitting out for this season. Natasha Cloud is gone. Tiana Hawkins is a free agent. Dee Dee Richards, Alyssa Kune, Emily Inksler, Steffi Dolson. are the only moves the Washington Mystics made.
What was that? What the hell was that?
I'm not saying they're going to be bad players. This just reinforces we don't really have a true identity. And I can't forget about Carly Samuelson, and also signed Julie Van Loo. I mean, losing 2 starters. Tried to core Elena, and she's not. I think she just wanted to move on. So with this, and also you have the 6th pick in this draft. If I'm Mike, I'm trading that pick because you have 2 first-round picks next year. And like I said, both this draft class and next year's draft class has talent. Personally, I don't even know where you can even go in the draft. If Angel Reese is there, personally, I'm taking her. And that's just me. So I'm gonna bring Brenden back on. Brenden, just what's your grade for them?
Yeah, really quickly for the Mystics, I gave them a C+. You lost Natasha Cloud and Elena Deladon. And personally, I'm a Seattle Storm fan. I wanted to reap them of their losses. I wanted both of them to come to Seattle, but I don't always get what I want. So for the Mystics, you have a lot of players. You got a lot of players that you went over: Emily Engstler, Carly Samuelson, Diddy Richards, that I think are diamonds in the rough. If they don't work out, they're most likely on minimum contracts. But they are going to want to play in this league, and they are going to exhaust every opportunity to get back in this game. And for a team like the Mystics, where you said it yourself, you don't know what their identity is, you don't know what direction they're going, I think that could actually be a smart thing to have, or a good thing to have. So you got a few of those players. So it's not a total loss for them. It's not a total failure of an off season, but that's just something positive to look at.
Number 1 overall pick on 3. 1, 2, 3. Number 1 overall pick next year. Oh yeah.
That Paige? Is it Paige?
No, I don't know who it's going to be. So I need to see what they're going to do in this draft. But that's actually going to conclude this episode of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. I did have one final thought. Actually, really quick, just want to give my thoughts and prayers to the family of Chris Mortensen, ESPN. Sadly passed away, age 72. He, along with Scott Stewart, Stuart Scott, so many others, kind of the reason why I picked this profession, why I love it. So I just want to give my thoughts and prayers to his family. Brenden, do you have one?
Yeah, I don't know if you know this. You probably don't, but today's the 1-year anniversary of when WSU women's basketball won the Pac-12 championship in Vegas. I've coined that as the best day of my life, and tomorrow they play their first round against Cal, who they played last year in their first round on their way to the championship. So I want to give a big good luck to them. Unfortunately, this year I will not be in Vegas, but I send my love out to them, and I went to their senior weekend, and that was a blast, and I had such a fun time being back in Pullman and being back with my girls, and so that I truly had a blast being back with them. So I wish them the best of luck, and as always, go Cougs.
Love it. And also one other thing, ladies and gentlemen, the Maryland women's basketball team Big Ten tournament starts Thursday. You can follow me on at Twitter, Nathan Snell. I'm also through Maryland Sports Blog, where I'll be live tweeting the game. The game is actually 12:30, but 9:30 Central Time. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please like, comment, and subscribe. I will leave Brendan's Twitter in the description, and I will also leave a link to BTL Hoops. Check out some of his writing. It's great content. He's doing great things and continue to impact this field of journalism, Brenden. Really proud of you, sir.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, we out of here. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share the next big thing, the next up-and-coming sports journalist, Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything